Hello, good morning, friends. I'm Sunil and welcome to Galaxy Online Learning, division of Galaxy Tutorials. Okay, so today we are going to study Standard 10 CBSE English. Okay, from your first flight textbook, we are going to study the fifth chapter. Okay, the fifth chapter is the 100 dresses. It has two parts. So today we are going to study the first part of this chapter, the 100 dresses 10 CBSE English. Okay, so sorry, this the story has been written by Earl Saw Okay, before starting, I'm going to explain you the difficult words, the story, everything. But before that, I would like to tell you in short about the story. The story is about a school-going girl who is of Polish origin. Okay, means Polish means those who belong to today's Poland. It was not existed at that time Poland, but the ethnicity they were called Poles. Okay, Poles of Polish people live who are now living in today's Poland. Okay, so many people had emigrated from Poland to America. So similarly, her parents also had migrated to America, and this little girl Wanda was studying in an American school with American classmates. And how did these classmates treat her? Since she was Polish, naturally her ethnicity was different. She used to look, physical appearance was different. So she could be immediately recognized that she is not an American. So how these children, the American children, used to treat her, how they used to discriminate her, that has been written, that has been told in this particular chapter. But before that, I'd like to tell you about this particular the Polish American community in the United States, so that it will be easier for you to understand the story. Okay, the first Polish immigrants arrived in America in 1608, but the largest wave of Polish immigration occurred in the early 20th century when more than 1 million Poles migrated to the United States. Okay, so after um, America was discovered, many Europeans they started migrating for job, work, or for their livelihood to America. Okay, so it was a big land, vast land. So many Europeans migrated. So the first Polish migrants they started somewhere in 1608 migrating to America. But the largest wave means the largest amount migrating means from switching from their own country going to another country. Okay, the migrating means they are going from their country to some new country. Okay, so they are migrating. So these immigrants were biggest wave came in the 20th century. Okay, when nearly 1 million Polish people, okay, who belong to the Polish ethnicity. At that time, the today's Poland was not existing. Today we have a country called Poland in Europe. So that was not existing at that time. In the 20th century, some 1 million people they migrated to United States. The Polish state did not exist at the time, and the immigrants were identified according to their country of origin rather than to ethnicity. They were identified as Russian Poles, German Poles, and Austrian Poles. See, this Polish people, the ethnicity was Polish, okay, but at that time Poland, a country based on the ethnicity, was not existing at that time. So depending on from which country they belong, because at that time part of Russia, part of Germany, and part of Austria together form what today we have Poland. So those people of Polish origin who came from Germany were called German Poles, those who came from Russia were called Russian Poles, and those people with Polish origin but were from the country of Austria were called Austrian Poles. One of the most notable Polish American communities is in Chicago and its suburb. So Chicago is sometimes called the second largest Polish city in the world. next only to Warsaw, the capital of Poland. Okay, so you see maximum number of Polish Americans, okay, means Polish immigrants coming and staying in America are in the city of Chicago and its suburbs. So it is the largest population bearing Polish people staying in a particular city in America, and the population is such huge that it is second to Warsaw is the capital of Poland. So now, so this is the second largest population of Polish you find outside in America. Okay. The Polish Americans were sometimes discriminated against in the United States, as were the Irish, Italian, and Jews. As you know, when migrants come to another country, they speak a different language. The ethnicity is different. They speak a different language. They look different. Their physical structure is different. The physical attributes are different. Okay, so naturally, when they go to some new country, the people belonging to that particular country, the natives of that country, they feel bit insecure because of them, and then they discriminate them. So such discrimination existed at that time in America. There were Polish were discriminated. Similarly, the Irish people who came from Ireland, they were discriminated. People from Italy Italians were discriminated. Even Jews were discriminated. So when some immigrants come and stay in your country, particular country, the natives of that country, they discriminate them. And same was the case with the Polish people. According to the United States 2000 census, 6,67,414 Americans of age 5 years and older reported Polish as their language spoken at home, which is about 1.4% of the people who speak language other than English, or 0.25% of the US population. See, in the census of 2000, the United States government had taken the census in 2000. According to the 2000 census, nearly 6,67,414 people above the age of 5 said that the mother tongue they spoke at home means it was their mother tongue. The mother tongue is Polish. That means that what it means? It means that these people are immigrants Polish immigrants, okay? They are not natives of America, since they are speaking Polish as their mother tongue. And this is around 0.25% of the total population of America. So just imagine what a huge number of people coming from Poland and settling down in America. Now we'll start with the chapter, okay? This chapter, so I'll just read it for you and I'll explain it also. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in a seat, but nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. See, this is a situation where we are in a classroom in an American school, okay, and the narrator is telling us the story of the classroom. It's Monday today, and there are few girls in the classroom. Their names here they are given: Peggy, Madeline, and Wanda. Out of which Wanda is absent today. Okay, so Wanda is not absent in the classroom today, but the other girls, particularly Peggy and Madeline, these are the names of the two girls in the class, they also haven't noticed her yet. Okay. Usually Wanda, where she sits in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in the room number 13. So in that school there is a classroom number 13. In that classroom, on the last seat, last row, and then Wanda sits in the seat next to the last seat, and that means she sits in the corner of the classroom. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of seat, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. Now, where she used to sit? She used to sit in the corner of the room where those naughty students, the naughty boys used to sit, and the last bench. Okay, there it was scuffling of. There used to be scuffling of food. Scuffling means, the boy sitting in the. You also must be. You heard the noise. Okay, and the last row, what the boys do? They drag their feet. Okay, on the floor, so it makes a stitching noise. Okay, it makes a stitching noise. So means all the naughty boys, where the naughty boys used to sit there in that corner, Wanda used to sit where there used to be a lot of noise. Then when a joke is made or something funny happened, unnecessarily they will laugh more than necessary. Okay, so all this means the most naughtiest, all the naughty boys, the notorious boys used to sit in that corner. Wanda used to sit. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. See, Wanda sat there, but she was not like the other boys who were sitting in that corner. The other boys were the notorious ones, naughty ones. But Wanda was not a naughty girl. In fact, she was just the opposite. She was a very quiet girl who used to sit very quietly and rarely used to laugh. She used to rarely laugh. Okay, nobody had even seen her laughing any time. Okay, so she used to be very quiet. She said nothing at all in the class. Very quiet. She used to attend the class. Okay. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. Okay. No one had seen her laughing. Only when there was something funny happened, she used to just make a crooked sort of a smile. Okay, just twist her lips. That's all everyone had seen about her. No one had seen her having a hearty laugh. Nobody knew exactly why Wanda sat in the seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggin's side and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. Nobody in the classroom knew why Wanda used to sit in that particular way. She was a quiet girl. Then why she used to sit in the corner of the room? Because one of the reasons was that she used to come all the way from Boggins Hill, which was quite a far place, and she used to walk down all the way, and since she used to walk down, her shoes used to get dirty with mud. Okay, so she used to always, she used to be late, and so she used to sit in the last corner seat of the room. But no one really thought about it, why no one bothered why particularly she's sitting over there. No one, everyone had their own businesses to do. So no one was interested in knowing why Wanda is sitting on the last row. The time when they thought about Wanda was outside of school hours. At noon time, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. See, no one thought about Wanda when she was in the classroom, why she is sitting. But when they were outside in the courtyard or while coming to school in the morning or in the afternoon, okay, when they were outside the classroom, most of these students, okay, from the school would be talking. They used to come in groups, no? Naturally, you see, when you go to school, if you have a friend along, you go in groups, you come out also in groups with your friend, talking with your friends. Okay, so at that time, they used to think about Wanda. Till then, no one in the classroom, no one was bothered about Wanda. Then sometimes they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. At that time, they waited sometimes, okay, to let Wanda come while going to school or after school, because they wanted to make fun of her because she used to look different. Her name sound also different. Petronsky was something name. Petronsky name. It's not an American name, so it was something different for them. So they wanted to make fun of her, so they used to wait for her. The next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. Even the next day, Monday she was absent, even the next day, that was Tuesday also, she was absent. But no one noticed that she is not there. Because after all, she was a very quiet girl. She never used to speak in the class, so nobody in the classroom noticed her. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who didn't track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular in the school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Mary was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to school. They had waited and waited for Wanda to have some fun with her, and she just had not come. So, see, Monday passed, she was not there, no one noticed. Tuesday passed, she was absent, but no one noticed. But on Wednesday, what happened was that Peggy and Madeline, the other two girls, they noticed her absence. Okay, now Peggy and Madeline were two girls in the same classroom of Wanda. They were two close friends. Peggy was a beautiful girl. She used to, pretty girl she was. She used to wear pretty clothes too. Her hair was curly. Okay, and Madeline was a close friend. Now, how did they come to know about her absence was that? Because while coming in the morning to school, they thought of making fun of Wanda. And for that, they had waited for Wanda to come from Bougainville Street. They were waiting at the corner of the street, waiting for Wanda to come so they could move along with her to school, go along with her to school, and while going, they could make fun of her. They waited and waited, but Wanda didn't turn up, and so they were late to school, and that was the reason they felt the absence of Wanda. They often waited for Wanda Petronsky to have fun with her. Wanda Petronsky, most of the children in the room, 13, didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith, or Alan. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. See, Wanda, this Peggy and Madeline often waited. Many a times they waited at the corner of the street for Wanda to come so that they can make fun of her. Wanda Petronsky, this name was quite funny for the American children, because this name was quite difficult to pronounce compared to the other names, general names of the Americans, like Thomas, Smith, Allen. There was one boy whose name was Bounce, and they thought it funny, but this was something really something absurd for them. Okay? Petronsky, Wanda Petronsky. Wanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. See, Wanda didn't have any friends. Okay, she used to come to school alone. She used to go home alone. Okay, she always wore a single dress, a faded blue dress. It used to be clean, but it never used to be ironed, and it was a bit loose to her frame. Okay, she didn't have any friends, but lots of girls used to talk to her. Okay, sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard when they used to play hopscotch. Okay, hopscotch, you must be knowing the game where you make markings on the ground and then there are squares on the ground. Okay, so that is hopscotch. Okay, and you then push, with a push you throw the what do you call it, a piece of tile or something on the in the other square. Okay, that's called hopscotch. So many girls used to come to talk to her or surround her many a times. Okay, and what they used to talk? In fact, they used to surround her to make fun of her. No one of them were her friend. They used to surround her and they used to talk to her means they used to make fun of her. Wanda, Peggy would say in the most courteous manner as though she was talking to Miss Mason. Wanda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge, tell us how many dresses you say you had hanging up in the closet. So Peggy, in a very courteous way, used to talk as if she's like a teacher. She used to talk and she used to ask, means the way they were making fun of her. That Wanda, they used to ask her how many dresses you have, because they used to see her always wearing one single dress every day, which was which was not ironed, clean but not ironed, an old dress she used to wear every day, one that single dress. So they purposely used to make fun of her by asking how many dresses she had in a closet, that is in a cupboard. On that, Wanda would reply, 100. 100, exclaimed the little girls incredulously. And the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Yeah, 100, all lined up, said Wanda. Then the thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too? Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses, Wanda would repeat stolidly. All lined up in my closet. See, when Peggy used to ask how many dresses she has in a closet, Wanda would say that she had 100 dresses, and then all other girls surrounding her will unbelievingly shout, 100? They mean to say that you wear only one dress every day, the same dress you are wearing every day, and then what 100 dresses are doing? That means they were thinking that she is lying. Okay? They were feeling that she is lying. That's why they used to purposely ask then to make fun of her, more fun of her. They used to say, then they must be all silk. Then on that, Wanda used to reply, yes, all silk and in different colors. Then Peggy used to again ask, you must be having velvet dresses too. Yes, she used to say, yes, velvet too. Okay, all colors. I have 100 dresses, and she used to say this in a very stolidly, means without showing any feeling, in a very discreet way. She used to tell them that she has 100 dresses. Then, after she goes, then they had let her go, and then before she had gone very far, they could not help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. And when she used to move from there, okay, who? Wanda. Then all these girls, they used to laugh. After that, you see this girl, she's saying she has got 100 dresses, she's wearing, every day she's wearing the same dress. Same dress which she wore yesterday, she's wearing the next day also. And she's telling her, see what a big liar she is. That's what they mean to say. So they used to laugh at her. 100 dresses, obviously the only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So why did she say she had 100? What a story. So that's what they were feeling, that she is lying by saying that she has 100 dresses. How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? Oh no, every pair is different. All colors, all lined up. Okay. Then just ask how many shoes she has. Then she used to say 60 pairs. Then they used to ask, all are same? No, they are quite different. Each and every has a different design. Each pair of shoes is different. Okay? Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Then, this was the way of making fun. Peggy had started making fun this way, okay, often. And Maggie, her closest friend, okay, she used to support her, and they were the last to leave from that place, okay. But Wanda used to just move around. She used to go ahead alone, okay, and while moving down the street, she had a habit of hitching her shoulder now and then, okay. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that this is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she has 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. Okay, so Peggy used to make fun of her, but if you see, Peggy was also not a cruel girl. Peggy was not a cruel girl. She was a pretty little girl, a small girl, but she was not cruel because you have seen her many times. What she protecting the younger children, younger girls from the bullies in the school. Even if she used to feel bad if someone mistreated any animals, that shows that she had a very kind heart. But then, if someone said that you are making fun of Wanda by asking her such questions, then she would say that what fun I am making? I am not making. Then why she's talking lies? What's the reason of talking so lies to us? Why she's talking so much lies? See, she has only one dress, and why she's telling that she has got 100 dresses? She used to say. That means she's purposely lying to us. And anyway, she has some different name. Her name sounds something different. That means she's not an ordinary person like us. But their fun making never reached to such a height that made Wanda cry. So they used to make fun of her, but they never used to make fun of her that Wanda will cry one day. As for Mary, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that was bothering her. Mary was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't give up. She didn't live up on Boggins Heights or have a funny name. See, Mary, who was a very close friend of Peggy, in fact, didn't like the way Peggy used to make fun of her by asking her how many dresses she has, or how many pairs of shoes she has, or how many hats she has, how many this she has, that she has. She didn't used to like it. But because why she didn't used to like? Because she herself was poor. Madeline. Madeline was a poor girl. She used to wear clothes which were hand-me-down clothes. That means which was second-hand clothes. Her parents used to buy second-hand clothes for her. Only thing was that she thanks God that only thing was that she was not staying in Boggin Heights. Okay, means a particular place where mostly poor people lived. Okay, or she didn't have a funny name like Wanda. Sometimes when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda. Exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy had not invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petronsky. See, many times sometimes when Peggy used to ask Wanda about, means mockingly, purposely, making fun. In a very polite way, she used to ask how many dresses she has or how many hats she has. Hmm? Madeline never used to like it, and so what she used to do, she used to she never used to pay attention to those things, and she used to play with the marbles in her palm. Okay, it was not that, because she was also poor, and she thought that now they are making fun of her. If she says something against uh, supporting Wanda, okay, if she says something of supporting Wanda because she too was poor, then what will happen? Maybe that all these girls may start teasing her, making fun of her, and she didn't want it. She didn't want it that the other girls should make fun of her. So she used to keep quiet. She never used to take part in it, but she used to keep quiet. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8, let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note, because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey Peggy, let's stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." When she finished the arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly she paused and shuddered. See, today they were waiting for Wanda. Wednesday, it was Wednesday today. They were waiting for Wanda, Peggy, and who? Peggy and Madeline. But Wanda didn't come to school. She didn't turn up. So, in fact, Maddie was happy that today Wanda is not there. So, Peggy won't be able to make fun of her. So, she was happy for Wanda that she's not there and no one's going to make fun of her. So, now she was working with her arithmetic problems. She was solving her math problems. And at that time, she thought of writing a note in the school classroom. She wanted to write a note to Peggy and tell her, please stop making fun of Wanda. Okay? So even started to write, but suddenly she stopped writing that note to Peggy. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girl. Why did she stop? Because suppose I asked her, Peggy, to stop making fun of Wanda, then Peggy may start making fun of Madeline herself. Okay, so she didn't want that to happen. Peggy might ask her where she got the dresses that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with new trimmings so no one in room 13 would recognize it. She thought that maybe she wanted to write a note to Peggy and tell her that not to make fun of Wanda, but she stopped. Why? Because she thought that if she writes a note like that to Peggy, that Peggy may start teasing her, making fun of her, and she may start asking Maddie how many dresses she has. Like same way she may start making fun of her. And how can she tell that maybe Madeline's mom has bought this dress, this may be the second hand dress of Peggy herself, and her mom has just altered the trimmings and everything so that it should look something different, so that no one should recognize that it was Peggy's dress. If only Peggy would decide on her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. Okay. She thought that if Peggy on her own, if she stops making fun of Wanda, then so she was thinking of Wanda and the fun Peggy was making, but then she brushed aside those thoughts Okay, she brushed her and she thought that Peggy was her very close friend. Everyone, in fact, like she was a pretty girl, so everyone in the classroom, also school, also liked her. And a girl like such a pretty girl like Peggy, she thought, won't be doing something wrong because everyone liked her. Okay, she thought. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up on bogging sides and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Mary remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings, and she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. You had looked like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in pretended admiration. Okay, see, for Wanda, she as for Peggy, Maddie was not thinking about Wanda. Wanda was just some girl. For her, Wanda was just a girl who was living in Boggin Heights. She was not a close friend of her like Peggy. Now these are the thoughts of Maddie. That why should she think so much about this Wanda? Because Peggy is a close friend, and she can't see that Peggy should become unfriendly with her. Okay, so she says that what Wanda is after all just another girl who is staying in Boggin Heights and who hardly spoke to anyone. Only she had heard her speaking when Peggy used to ask her about the dresses. Maddie had even heard that once she was telling, who Wanda was telling that about the dress, blue colored dress, which was had many trimmings around it, beautiful blue dress. Then she also had told about a green dress, a jungle green dress with a red sash around it. And some other girls had joked that a jungle green colored dress with red sash would look like a Christmas tree. Thinking about Wanda and 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consisted of designing dresses, and for boys, of designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the classroom. At least that's what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners. Then they had no. So Madeline was thinking about Wanda and her dresses. At that time, suddenly a thought came to mind. There was a competition in the school that the girls had to design dresses, whereas the boys had to design motor boats. And Maddie was sure that this competition will be won by Peggy because she and many others, all other children also thought that Peggy was good at drawing because they had seen Peggy drawing a dress looking at from the magazine or the head of a film star, and she used to draw and you could immediately recognize who that star was. That showed that she was good in drawing. So she thought that from the girl's side it is going to be Peggy who will win the drawing competition of designing or designing dresses. And the result was to be announced the next day about that competition. The next day it was drizzling. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they didn't wait for Wanda Petronsky on the corner of the Oliver Street. The street led far, far away under the railroad tracks, and up the hill led to Boggins Heights. Anyway, they were not taking chances on being late today because today was important. The next day, the result of the competition was to be declared. So on that day it was drizzling a little bit. So Peggy and Maddie, they didn't wait for Wanda at the corner of the Oliver Street from where the road took to Bogenside. They didn't wait over there. In fact, they hurried toward the school in Peggy's umbrella. Why they were hurrying? Because that day was important. Because on that very day, the result of the competition was to be announced. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. So Peggy asked Madeline whether what she thinks, whether the teacher, Miss Mason, will be announcing the result of announcing who is going to be the winner of the competition. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie, of course you will win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly. Maddie says that, yeah, today I'm sure your teacher will be, once we get into the class, teacher will announce the result today, and I'm sure you, Peggy, you are going to win it. And Peggy says eagerly that hope so, she will say. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. There were drawings all over the room, on every ledge and windowsill, dazzling colors and brilliant lavish designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them all lined up. There must be the drawings for the contest. This must be the drawings for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. Okay. The minute they entered the classroom, who? Peggy and Madeline, when they entered the classroom, what they saw? All around the classroom, on the ledge, on the windowsill, everywhere, they saw beautiful, beautiful designs of dresses kept everywhere. They were drawn on great paper of wrapping paper. Wrapping paper means the paper which is used to wrap goods. Okay, the drawings were not made on on a new canvas or something. They were done on a wrapping paper, the paper used for wrapping things. But those all the drawings were really, really beautiful, and the girls who were watching them were admiring them, smiling, whistling. It's such a beautiful means they were saying, oh, how beautiful, lovely, and so it was going on. So they were surprised to see that. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winners. Jack Bagels had won for the boys, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12, along with the sketches by all other boys. So as soon as the teacher, Miss Mason, came into the classroom, she announced first the winner from the boys, and it was Jack Bagels, who had won the motorboat competition, and his design had been displayed in the next classroom, the adjoining classroom, that's classroom number 12, okay, where other sketches of other boys were also kept. Then she announced, as for the girls, she said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most, one girl, and room 30 should be proud of her. This one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize. I am very happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. And then she announces the winner of the girls. She says that's for the girls. Though most of the girls have drawn one or two sketches, there is one girl from this room, classroom number 13, and everyone should be proud of that girl. That girl has drawn 100 different beautiful designs of dresses. 100 different dresses, all of them beautiful. Even the judges said that any one of this 100 dress is worth the first prize. So all those 100 designs were really, really beautiful. So any of the designs is worthy of winning the competition. And she says, I am happy to say There, the winner of the girls' medal is Wanda Petronsky. Unfortunately, Wanda has been absent from school for some days and is not here to receive the applause that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawings. Further, she says, the teacher, Miss Mercer says, but unfortunately, today Wanda is absent for a few days. In fact, she is absent for a few days. So once she comes, we hope that she comes to class tomorrow, and when she comes to class tomorrow, we will give her a big applause. Applause means what? Clapping. Okay, a sudden clapping, all of them making a good clap. Okay, which is due to her. And she says, now all you students can line up and watch her beautiful exquisite drawings. Okay, exquisite means extremely beautiful designs of her. Okay.